The year is 1348. The Black Death, a scythe wielded by an unseen hand, sweeps across Europe. Lady Eliana of Montaigne watches helplessly as its shadow engulfs her lands, a darkness that devours lives and buries hope. The Church offers solace, urging repentance and faith in divine mercy. Processions fill the streets, chants echo through the valleys, but the plague remains deaf to their pleas. Eliana finds little comfort in the sermons. Her grief demands answers, not just prayers. Fear breeds superstition. Blame falls on the stars, on lepers, on anyone different. Cures are concocted from herbs and incantations, but they are as futile as trying to hold back the tide with a sieve. The plague mocks their efforts, claiming more victims each day. Eliana, defying the conventions of her noble birth, rolls up her sleeves and ministers to the sick. She learns from the local healers, questioning their methods, observing the effects of their remedies, but she finds their knowledge lacking, their explanations based on old wives' tales and Galenic dogma. Driven by a desperate need to understand, Eliana turns to the castle library. She devours treatises on medicine, herbals, and even philosophical texts, seeking any glimmer of insight into the nature of the disease and its cause. She begins to suspect that the answers lie not in prayers or superstition, but in a deeper understanding of the human body itself. The established medical wisdom, rooted in the teachings of Galen, offers little help. Bleeding, purging, and balancing the humors are the standard treatments, but they prove tragically ineffective. Eliana witnesses firsthand the limitations of this inherited knowledge, fueling her desire for something more. Eliana begins to seek out forbidden knowledge. She knows that the Church frowns upon questioning the natural order, upon seeking answers that might challenge God's will. But the faces of the dead haunt her, urging her to push beyond the boundaries of accepted wisdom. The sheer scale of death is overwhelming. The gravediggers can barely keep up, and the bodies are piled high in mass graves. The stench of decay permeates the air, a constant reminder of the plague's relentless advance. She begins to commission translations of Arabic medical texts, seeking the wisdom of physicians from other lands. She hears whispers of anatomical studies conducted in secret, of those who dare to dissect the human body in the pursuit of knowledge. These whispers ignite a spark of hope within her. While Eliana seeks knowledge, others turn to more extreme forms of religious devotion. Flagellant processions become increasingly common, a desperate attempt to appease God and end the plague. But Eliana sees only misplaced fervor and a lack of practical solutions. The plague continues its relentless march, leaving a trail of death and despair in its wake. But within Eliana, a different kind of transformation is taking place. She is no longer just a noblewoman, but a seeker of knowledge, a champion of reason, and a defiant voice in a world consumed by fear and superstition. The seeds of a new era are being sown in the shadows of the plague. Eliana's journey has begun, a journey that will lead her down a dangerous path, challenging the established order and pushing the boundaries of what is known and what is believed. The cadaver awaits. Within the hallowed walls of the Benedictine monastery, Brother Thomas Aquinas found himself increasingly restless. The scriptures, though a source of profound spiritual guidance, seemed to offer incomplete answers to the questions that plagued his mind, questions concerning the very structure and function of the human body. He sought solace in the monastery's vast library, poring over ancient tomes, hoping to find some enlightenment beyond the familiar theological arguments. He felt a growing disconnect between the abstract concepts of the soul and the tangible reality of the physical form. One day, buried deep within a stack of forgotten manuscripts, he stumbled upon a passage that piqued his interest. It spoke of ancient physicians, of meticulous observations of the human body, of a systematic exploration of its inner workings. The text hinted at the practice of dissection, of opening the body to understand its secrets. The discovery ignited a fire within him, a burning curiosity that threatened to consume his faith. The Church strictly forbade the desecration of the dead, viewing the body as sacred and inviolable. The very idea of cutting into a human corpse was considered an unspeakable act. Torn between his devotion to God and his thirst for knowledge, Brother Thomas sought solace in prayer. He wrestled with the implications of this forbidden knowledge, questioning whether the pursuit of understanding could ever justify the violation of religious doctrine. He reasoned that if the human body was indeed a divine creation, then understanding its intricacies would be akin to understanding God himself. Could the study of anatomy not be seen as an act of worship, a deeper appreciation for the Creator's genius? He began to meticulously record his thoughts, attempting to reconcile his faith with his burgeoning desire to explore the forbidden realm of anatomy. He sought theological justifications for his pursuit, searching for loopholes in the Church's pronouncements. He confided in a fellow monk, Brother Michael, an older scholar known for his open mind and discreet nature. He hoped to find some guidance, some reassurance that his intellectual curiosity was not a sin. Brother Michael, though initially hesitant, recognized the genuine thirst for knowledge in Brother Thomas's heart. He cautioned him to proceed with utmost secrecy, but offered a cryptic piece of advice: seek understanding where the light of reason is dimmest. The weight of his secret grew heavier each day. He knew that his pursuit could lead to excommunication, even death, should his activities be discovered. Yet, the allure of the unknown, the promise of unlocking the secrets of the human body, proved too strong to resist. He became increasingly cautious, acutely aware of the eyes and ears around him. Every footstep, every whispered conversation seemed to carry a hidden meaning, a potential threat to his clandestine pursuit. He knew that he was treading a dangerous path, a path that could lead to damnation. But the desire to understand the divine creation, to unravel the mysteries of the human form, had become an all-consuming obsession. He resolved to continue his inquiry, no matter the cost. The northern winds whipped at Master Guillaume's robes as he approached the university. This city, renowned for its scholars, was now his new home. He carried not only his belongings but also a wealth of knowledge gathered from the sun-drenched shores of Italy and the ancient texts of the East. The university's medical curriculum was deeply entrenched in the theories of Galen, the Greek physician. Students spent countless hours transcribing his texts, accepting his pronouncements as unassailable truths. Guillaume noted the absence of practical observation, a stark contrast to his own methods. His attempts to introduce new ideas were met with resistance. The established physicians, comfortable in their Galenic certainty, viewed his anatomical knowledge, particularly his references to Avicenna and direct observation, with suspicion. "We have followed Galen for centuries," one proclaimed. "Why should we abandon the wisdom of the ancients for your novelties?" Undeterred, Guillaume began his lectures. He spoke of the intricate network of veins and arteries, the delicate structure of the organs, drawing upon Avicenna's canon of medicine, and supplementing it with his own observations. He emphasized the importance of understanding the body's physical structure to properly diagnose and treat disease. "We must see with our own eyes," he urged, "not merely rely on the words of others, however revered. Among the attendees, hidden in the shadows, was Brother Thomas Aquinas. The monk, torn between his religious convictions and his insatiable thirst for knowledge, found himself drawn to Guillaume's teachings, despite the Church's disapproval of such studies. News of Master Guillaume's arrival reached Lady Eliana in Montaigne. She saw in his expertise an opportunity to further her own understanding of medicine and perhaps find new ways to combat the ever-present threat of disease. This physician, she mused, may hold the key to unlocking the secrets of the human body. Whispers of Guillaume's unconventional methods reached the ears of the Church authorities. His emphasis on dissection, even when only theoretical, raised concerns about desecration and challenged the accepted order of things. He was summoned to explain his teachings, to defend his pursuit of knowledge against accusations of heresy. Is it not our duty, Guillaume argued, to explore the wonders that God has wrought? To understand the intricate workings of the human frame is to appreciate the divine architect's genius. To shy away from such knowledge is to deny God's gift of reason. Brother Thomas, watching from the sidelines, felt a surge of conviction. Guillaume's words resonated with his own internal struggle, providing a theological justification for his forbidden curiosity. Perhaps, he thought, the pursuit of anatomical knowledge was not a sin, but a form of devotion. Lady Eliana, upon hearing of the accusations against Guillaume, resolved to intervene. She knew that his knowledge was too valuable to be silenced by fear and prejudice. She began preparations for a journey north, determined to support the physician and further her own quest for medical understanding. As darkness fell, Guillaume remained uncertain of his fate. He had sown the seeds of anatomical inquiry in fertile ground, but whether they would blossom or be choked by the weeds of dogma remained to be seen. The coming days would determine the future of medical knowledge in the North. The mortuary, usually a place of quiet contemplation, buzzed with a hushed activity that drew Brother Thomas like a moth to a flickering flame. He knew the local barbers and surgeons occasionally practiced their crude craft within, but he had always averted his gaze. Tonight, however, a morbid curiosity seized him. The scene within was gruesome. A cadaver laid upon a rough-hewn table was the subject of the barber-surgeon's rough ministrations. The air hung thick with the coppery tang of blood and the sharp scent of preservative herbs. Thomas's stomach churned, but he could not tear his gaze away. The barber-surgeon, with more brute force than finesse, probed the exposed organs. Thomas's breath hitched. It was a violation, a desecration. Yet beneath the horror, a spark of fascination ignited within him. He saw not just a corpse, but the intricate workings of God's design. The moral dilemma tore at him. Was this pursuit of knowledge worth the violation of God's temple? Could understanding the body truly bring him closer to understanding the divine, or was it a descent into sacrilege? He felt a profound sense of unease. Back in his cell, the image of the dissected body lingered in his mind. Sleep offered no escape, only a restless replay of the scene. He wrestled with his conscience, seeking justification for his morbid curiosity. He sought solace and justification in the writings of the Church Fathers. Augustine's words on the beauty and order of creation offered a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, he reasoned, studying the body was not an act of desecration, but an act of worship, a deeper appreciation of God's artistry. Driven by a renewed purpose, Thomas sought out Brother Michael, the monastery's librarian. He needed to delve deeper, to find texts that could illuminate the mysteries he had glimpsed in the mortuary. The library yielded a few tantalizing clues, faded anatomical drawings, stylized and inaccurate, yet hinting at the complexity within. He devoured the texts, his thirst for knowledge growing with each passing day. He sought out the monastery's apothecary, eager to understand how different substances affected the body's humors. The apothecary, a wizened man with a vast knowledge of herbs, proved to be a valuable, if reluctant, source of information. Thomas began to compile his own notes, sketching diagrams of the organs based on his limited knowledge. He knew that the barber surgeon's crude dissections were insufficient. He needed access to something more precise, more revealing. He knew where he had to go next. Steeling his resolve, Thomas sought out the barber surgeon, his mind set on a dangerous proposition. Under the guise of procuring better herbs for the infirmary, Thomas offered the barber surgeon a clandestine deal, access to future cadavers, in exchange for a more thorough and guided dissection. The seed of a dangerous partnership had been sown, promising knowledge and peril in equal measure. The futility of prayers alone had become painfully clear to Lady Eliana. The church offered solace but not solutions. She resolved to seek answers in the realm of the physical, the knowable, the human body itself. Under the guise of renovating a neglected wing of Montaigne Castle, Eliana commissioned a secret laboratory. Secrecy was paramount. Discovery would invite accusations of heresy and necromancy. Discreetly procured from merchants and apothecaries, tools of dissection and forbidden texts arrived at Montaigne. Eliana felt a thrill of anticipation mixed with trepidation. She was treading a dangerous path. The hidden laboratory took shape. A large table dominated the center of the room, surrounded by smaller tables laden with knives, saws, and bowls. Preservative herbs hung from the rafters, their pungent scent masking the inevitable odors to come. News of Master Guillaume's unorthodox teachings had reached Montaigne. Lady Eliana recognized in him a kindred spirit, a scholar who dared to question established dogma. Defying convention, Eliana embarked on a journey to the university. A noblewoman seeking medical knowledge was unheard of, but her determination outweighed any societal constraints. Master Guillaume, oblivious to the impending visit, continued his lectures, challenging his students to look beyond the ancient texts and observe the reality of the human form. Eliana presented her proposition to Master Guillaume, patronage in exchange for tutelage. She offered him resources, security, and a sanctuary to pursue his anatomical studies without fear of reprisal. Guillaume was intrigued. Such an offer was unprecedented. Eliana's passion and resources were enticing, but the risks were undeniable. He considered the implications carefully. An agreement was struck. Master Guillaume relocated to Montaigne, bringing his knowledge and expertise to Eliana's clandestine laboratory. Their collaboration had begun. Unbeknownst to Eliana and Guillaume, Brother Thomas, driven by his insatiable curiosity, had followed the physician to Montaigne. He found a way to observe their forbidden work, wrestling with his conscience as he witnessed the dissection. The patronage of knowledge had begun. Under the cloak of secrecy, the pursuit of understanding the human body advanced, challenging the boundaries of faith and reason, and forever altering the course of medical science. Master Guillaume began his dissection, his movements precise and deliberate. A small group of students huddled around him, their faces a mixture of fascination and apprehension. The air was thick with the scent of decay and the metallic tang of blood. Drawn by the hushed voices and the unmistakable odor, Brother Thomas found himself outside the anatomy hall. He hesitated, his conscience warring with his insatiable thirst for knowledge. He peeked inside. Guillaume, oblivious to the monk's presence, continued his lesson. "Observe how the muscles interweave," he instructed, "how they pull upon the bones to create movement. This is the work of the Creator, laid bare before us." Thomas found himself wrestling with the implications of Guillaume's words. Was it truly a sin to seek understanding of God's creation through its physical form? Or was it, in fact, a higher form of worship? In her own chamber, Lady Eliana pored over anatomical sketches, comparing them to descriptions in ancient medical texts. She sought patterns, connections, answers to the questions that plagued her. How did the plague take hold, and how could it be stopped? Back at the monastery, Thomas knelt in prayer, seeking guidance. "Lord," he whispered, "forgive my curiosity if it be a sin, but grant me the wisdom to discern your will in all things." Galen, Guillaume declared to his students, was a brilliant man, but he never dissected a human body. He based his knowledge on animals. We must trust our own eyes, our own observations. The truth lies before us in the very fabric of our being. Summoning his courage, Thomas approached Guillaume after the lecture. "Master," he said, "I am Brother Thomas. I seek understanding of the body, but I fear it may conflict with my faith." Guillaume listened patiently. "Faith and reason are not enemies, brother," he replied. "They are two paths leading to the same truth. To understand the body is to understand the divine design. The human body is a text written by God himself." Thomas pondered Guillaume's words as he walked the cloistered halls of the monastery. The physician's perspective offered a new way to reconcile his faith and his burgeoning scientific curiosity. Lady Eliana, driven by an unshakable determination to understand the intricacies of the human body, continued her studies. The knowledge she gleaned was a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. Guillaume, now with Thomas as a regular observer, continued his dissections. Each cut, each revelation, was a step closer to understanding the intricate design of the human body, a journey into the very heart of creation. The chill of the pre-dawn air permeated the dissection chamber as Master Guillaume began his work. The cadaver, laid bare on the rough-hewn table, awaited the physician's keen eye and practiced hand. Lady Eliana, cloaked against the cold, watched with unwavering focus. Beside her, Brother Thomas, his face a mask of conflicted emotions, held his rosary beads, a silent prayer on his lips. With deft strokes, Master Guillaume revealed the complex arrangement of muscles in the arm, explaining their function and interplay. "Observe," he intoned, "how each fiber contributes to movement, a symphony of God's design." "Is it not remarkable," Lady Eliana commented, "how these tendons, so slender, can bear such weight and stress? The vulnerability is astounding." Brother Thomas, gathering his courage, inquired, "Master Guillaume, how does your understanding of these earthly vessels reconcile with the Church's teachings on the soul's dominion over the body?" Guillaume paused, his gaze thoughtful. "Brother Thomas, the body is God's creation, fearfully and wonderfully made. To understand its workings is to understand his divine artistry. The soul may be beyond our earthly comprehension, but the vessel that carries it is within our grasp and deserving of our study." He proceeded to open the abdominal cavity, revealing the coils of the intestines. "Here," he explained, "lies the seat of digestion, the engine that fuels our mortal existence. Galen spoke of the liver as the source of vital spirits, but observation reveals a more complex truth. The stench of decay grew stronger, testing the resolve of even the most dedicated observer. Lady Eliana pressed a scented cloth to her face, while Brother Thomas fought to suppress his discomfort. "Observe the mesentery," Guillaume instructed, "and the intricate network of vessels that supply the intestines. Blockage here can lead to swift and agonizing death. The plague, I suspect, often finds its path through this very system." Lady Eliana nodded, her mind racing with the implications for treatment. As the first rays of dawn crept through the window, Brother Thomas felt a growing unease. The knowledge gained was invaluable, but the risk of discovery loomed large. Whispers of heresy and body snatching had begun to circulate within the university, fueled by those who clung to tradition. Guillaume, sensing the shift in mood, spoke quietly. "We tread a dangerous path, Eliana. The Church watches and our enemies seek to undermine our work. We must be vigilant." Lady Eliana met his gaze, her resolve hardening. "Then we must be more discreet and more determined. The lives we save are worth the risk. Knowledge is our shield and faith our sword." Whispers, like drafts through ill-sealed windows, began to circulate within the university. Master Guillaume's teachings, once a source of fascination, were now tinged with suspicion. The anatomies, the procurement of bodies, the very notion of probing God's creation with a scalpel, all fueled a growing unease. Brother Thomas found himself increasingly torn. The knowledge he had gleaned from the mortuary gnawed at his conscience. Could the pursuit of understanding justify the transgression against sacred law? The bodies, the secrets revealed, they haunted his prayers. News reached Lady Eliana in Montaigne, troubling news. Rumors of her involvement in the dissections, fueled by disgruntled servants and loose tongues, were spreading beyond the castle walls. The bishop had taken notice. The bishop, a man known for his unwavering adherence to doctrine, viewed the anatomical investigations as a dangerous affront to God's will. He saw heresy in the physician's scalpel and sacrilege in the noblewoman's patronage. Master Guillaume was summoned before the ecclesiastical court. Accusations of heresy and body snatching hung heavy in the air. He was asked to explain his methods, his motives, his blasphemous disregard for the sanctity of the dead. Brother Thomas, wrestling with his conscience, sought to witness the proceedings. He felt a duty both to his faith and to the pursuit of knowledge. He prayed for guidance, but the answers remained elusive. Lady Eliana received a formal summons, demanding her presence before the bishop's council. The accusations against her were veiled but unmistakable, consorting with heretics, defiling the dead, and challenging the divine order. Master Guillaume, though weary, defended his work with unwavering conviction. He argued that understanding the human body was not an act of defiance, but an act of reverence, a means of better serving God's creation. Lady Eliana, facing the bishop and his council, spoke with a quiet dignity. She acknowledged her patronage of the anatomical studies, but insisted that her motives were pure, to alleviate suffering and combat the scourge of disease. She used her family's influence to deflect accusations. The conflict within Brother Thomas intensified. He could no longer reconcile the Church's rigid doctrines with the undeniable truth revealed through anatomical study. He began to explore theological justifications for his pursuit of knowledge, seeking a path that would reconcile faith and reason. As the accusations of body snatching swirled, the source of the cadavers became a matter of intense scrutiny. Rumors of clandestine grave robbing spread like wildfire, further fueling the outrage and fear. Master Guillaume, knowing the risks, addressed his students. He spoke of the importance of their work, but also cautioned them about the dangers they faced. The pursuit of knowledge, he warned, could come at a heavy price. Lady Eliana stood firm, the weight of the church's accusation heavy upon her shoulders. Yet, fear would not conquer her resolve. She would defend the pursuit of knowledge as a service to God and humanity. Beside her stood Master Guillaume, his gaze unwavering. He knew the risks he had taken, the boundaries he had crossed, but he believed in the power of observation, in the truth revealed through the study of the human form. Brother Thomas, his heart heavy with trepidation, prepared to speak. He knew the consequences of defending what many considered heresy, but the pursuit of understanding, he felt, was a sacred duty. The Inquisitor, a man hardened by years of rooting out perceived heresy, listened intently. His gaze was sharp, probing, seeking any sign of deceit or defiance. "We sought not to defile God's creation, but to understand it," Eliana declared, her voice echoing in the hall. "Each vein, each bone, each organ speaks of his divine design. To ignore them is to ignore his wisdom. The ancient texts, while valuable, are incomplete," Guillaume added, his voice resonating with authority. "Only through direct observation can we truly grasp the intricacies of the human body, and thus better serve those who suffer." Brother Thomas stepped forward, his voice trembling slightly. "Is it not written that God formed man from dust? To understand the dust from which we are made is not blasphemy, but a deeper appreciation of his miracle." The Inquisitors gazed bored into Brother Thomas. He was treading on dangerous ground, blurring the lines between faith and forbidden knowledge. "We are not seeking to supplant faith with reason, but to illuminate it," Brother Thomas continued, his voice filled with fervent belief. "To deny the power of observation is to deny the gifts God has given us." Eliana stood beside him, her gaze unwavering. She would not recant, nor would she apologize for her pursuit of knowledge. The suffering she had witnessed fueled her determination. Guillaume nodded in agreement. He had dedicated his life to healing, and he would not be silenced by fear or dogma. The truth, he believed, would always prevail. The Inquisitor rose, his expression unreadable. The fate of Eliana, Guillaume, and Brother Thomas hung in the balance, a testament to the enduring conflict between faith and the insatiable human desire to understand the world around them. The tribunal concluded, not with a resounding condemnation, but a muted censure. The Church, grappling with the ravages of the plague and the growing tide of intellectual curiosity, found itself unable to fully suppress Master Guillaume's teachings. Though forbidden from openly practicing dissection, Master Guillaume continued to impart his anatomical knowledge. His lectures, now whispered and clandestine, drew a dedicated core of students, eager to learn the secrets hidden within the human form. Lady Eliana, chastened by the Church's scrutiny, continued her support of medical studies, albeit with greater discretion. The dissections moved further underground, funded by her unwavering commitment to understanding the human body and finding remedies for its ills. Brother Thomas returned to his monastic life, but the anatomical revelations he had witnessed forever altered his perception of God's creation. The Scriptures, once a complete and sufficient guide, now held a deeper, more nuanced meaning. In secret, he continued to study the anatomical drawings he had seen, sketching the intricate details of the human body and pondering their theological implications. He sought to reconcile faith and reason, believing that true understanding required both spiritual insight and empirical observation. Master Guillaume, despite the restrictions placed upon him, continued to treat the sick and wounded, applying his anatomical knowledge to improve surgical practices. He emphasized the importance of observation and experience, challenging the unquestioned authority of Galen and Avicenna. Lady Eliana focused her efforts on practical applications of medical knowledge, establishing an infirmary within her castle walls. She used her wealth and influence to provide care for the sick and impoverished, seeking to alleviate suffering and improve public health. Brother Thomas, emboldened by his anatomical insights, subtly challenged traditional theological interpretations. He argued that the human body, as a microcosm of the universe, held profound spiritual significance and should be studied with reverence and respect. Master Guillaume's legacy lay not only in his anatomical discoveries, but also in the students he inspired. He instilled in them a spirit of inquiry and a commitment to empirical observation, paving the way for a new generation of physicians who would challenge established medical dogma. Lady Eliana continued to network with scholars and physicians across Europe, creating a clandestine network for the exchange of medical knowledge. She understood that true progress required collaboration and the sharing of ideas, regardless of social or religious barriers. Brother Thomas, gazing upon the skull, pondered the mysteries of life and death. He recognized that the pursuit of knowledge, whether spiritual or scientific, was a sacred duty, a means of drawing closer to the divine. Though their paths remained largely separate, Brother Thomas, Lady Eliana, and Master Guillaume each contributed to a subtle but profound shift in the intellectual landscape of Europe. Their efforts, like seeds scattered on fertile ground, would eventually blossom into the Renaissance, a new era of scientific inquiry and artistic expression, forever changing the course of human history.